listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Here goes AD. Throwing it down! How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire!
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q chiming with you on podcast 270. That's right, 270 on the Pelican post-game report. And in this episode, we're going to be recapping the Pelicans' 2 wins. Of course, we're going to be doing a stretch show in this one. 3 shows combined in one, 2 recaps and 1 preview as the Pelicans keep the ball rolling and an awesome display of basketball. And before we get going into that, I'm going to give you a round of applause for joining us on the Pelican post-game report today. I'm Big Q, your host. And as always, we'd like to thank our established and new listeners of the show. As you listen today, we also want to let you guys know that the Pelican Post-Game Report will be coming at you live real soon. That means right after the basketball games, the Pelican Post-Game Report will be live coming real soon. So be on the lookout for that as the show continues to grow as we cover our Pelicans. Now, this is a jam-packed show. Pelicans kind of up and down, man. And that's to be expected early on in the season as the team learns itself. Of course, we still have a lot of pieces from the previous year, the core pieces here. This is absolutely astounding what I've seen here. 4 wins, 6 losses in a row, and then they get 2 wins in a row against 2 subpar teams, in the Suns, in the Bulls, and of course the validation win against what some people believe could be the Eastern Conference foe to the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. Pelicans go up there in Toronto and knock that team off in their building. That is impressive. So without further ado, we're going to recap the 2 previous games. We're going to start off and recap the Pelicans wins over both teams, and we're going to start with the Phoenix Suns game. Of course, the Pelicans were able to show up at home. They took care of business. No big whoop there. We knew they would eventually knock off this team. They beat them by 20, 119-99 in the Smoothie King Center. It was no real surprise there. We knew that this would happen because that's what good teams do that want to stack up wins. You have to beat the teams, these young teams who are going to struggle a bit. And Phoenix is a team that don't have an identity. They have good pieces in place, but they don't know how to win as a team yet. And it might not happen this year, but when you face teams like that struggling, you got to beat these teams up. Well, the Pelicans took their medicine. Both the Suns and the Bulls were medicine for the Pelicans, and they got well. They built a 2-game winning streak on their backs and gave them confidence leading into the Toronto game. But this game, 119-99, knocking off the Phoenix Suns, Pelicans shot 48%, might as well say 49% from the field versus 41% from the field for the Suns. They shot 44% from downtown, which was impressive. 11 of 25, but the Suns shot 10 of 36 for about 28%. So it's a different there, but they just really hit one more 3-pointer than the Suns did. But the free throws was where it was at. Pelicans 24 of 29 from the free throw line, 83%. Now if we can stay somewhere around there, we'll be fine. A couple of these games we'll win from the line because they're going to get to the line a lot. Julius Randle get hacked all the time. So does Drew Holiday, who don't get enough calls. Shame on the referees for that. And of course, Anthony Davis, he can average 10 points a game just in free throws from the line, easy points. So you can see AD is really being cognizant of the fact that he's getting to the line to convert those free throws. Those are easy baskets. That's the easiest shot you're going to get in the NBA. I would say a free throw almost as easy as a dunk to some players. Maybe not. But the Pelicans dominated in rebounds 60-41 against this team. They had 38 defensive rebounds in the matchup. They had 28 assists versus 16 in the game. They also were tied in blocks with them 7-7. Total turnovers, the Pelicans had 18. That's good for what the Pelicans pace of play. We already talked about that. Fast break points, Pelicans beat them 14-5. And then points in the paint, 56-46. They beat the team. And of course, what bad teams do, they foul you a lot, which is what the Suns did. They sent the Pelicans to the line 27 fouls. So the Pelicans did what they were supposed to do, beat this team. Let's hear what Coach Al Gentry says about the team's win, the second straight win. Remember, they beat the Bulls and get the second straight win here to get back to 500. Here's Coach Gentry's thoughts.
I thought we, in general, we played pretty good. We just had those leads where we tried to, we should have extended it and tried to kind of close out the game, but we couldn't ever quite get there, But the one thing about those guys is that they got a bunch of young guys that play hard, and they don't have it figured out yet, but they got some great talent, and I think they got a great future down there. But I thought we played well. We moved the basketball. We did a lot of good things. Drew was sensational on Booker. I mean, you're not gonna guard him any better than that. If you think about the fact that he was 4 for 11. One of them was the 50-foot three-point shot, and the other ones he had problems getting them off on Drew. I thought Drew did as good a job as you're ever going to do guarding that kid. Then I thought we did a good job of getting the ball inside to Julius and AD, and it was just a good win. It's a much-needed win for us, but I thought we did a good job, and it was a good team win.
Julius Randle in that starting role, you just touched on him a moment ago. What is it about his play right now, Coach, whether it's starting for you or coming off the bench, that seems to be really clicking?
I just think that he's done a good job of finding his niche with this team and knowing when to roll, knowing when to post up, knowing when to step out on the floor. He does a good job of pushing the ball when he rebounds it. So it's just a good fit all around for our team, really.
How badly did you need to really reset with these 2 wins at home, Coach, before having to go back out on the road again?
It's tough. We got a tough road trip ahead of us. Probably playing, one of the top 2 or 3 best teams in the league in Toronto, and it'll be interesting to see Minnesota. It'll be a completely different look and a completely different team. And sometime when you lose a guy like Jimmy, it opens up doors for other guys, and it gives them an opportunity to play. So it's going to be a big challenge for us on both these games, and it's going to be really, really cold.
That's Coach Al Gentry's thoughts on the game, saying it's a good team win. It was a good team win. The Pelicans did a good job of putting this game away. Like I said, wasn't no big whoop in this one. We knew what the Pelicans, they knew what they had to do. Now, a little insight on this game. They secured the second wire-to-wire victory of the season, opening the game on a 7-0 run. They never looked back. Devin Booker entered the game ranked 9th in the NBA in scoring, averaging about 26.5 points a game. He was held to just 12 on the night. He was 4 of 12 from the floor. That is big ups to Drew Holiday's defense. He basically worried the man all night, made him uncomfortable shooting the ball. And, when they switched off, you seen sometimes Drew Holiday, when he went on him, Wesley Johnson was on him. I just love that pairing. Since he put Wesley Johnson in the lineup, Wesley Johnson hitting these 3-pointers better than what his numbers indicated. He's long, he can run, he can finish, and he's a really well complementary part that Al Gentry could move when he needs to give Drew Holiday a rest. He can move Wesley Johnson there and do a pretty good job as well. So, that's a very good lineup. It gives size to the lineup. I just wish that they could find, they can add, Elfrid Payton comes back. That's going to obviously force E'Twaun Moore to the bench. I don't think so. I think Al Gentry would probably move Wesley Johnson to the bench. How foolish that move would be and give up that length. But he loves a 3-guard rotation, even though E'Twaun Moore is playing really good. Don't get me wrong. Not benching him doesn't mean that he is benched. It's a negative thing. I think add him to the bench, and you have guys like him and Julius Randle coming off the bench just empowers the bench, because you need that scoring off the bench as well to help sustain wins in the game. So I think that'll be a terrific thing. Plus, you could play him. He could play the guys that he usually play, can guard the 1 and the 2s. Why have him matched up on the 3 when you don't need him, because you have the length now with Wesley Johnson here. But let's finish this. New Orleans out-rebounded the Suns 54-37, including 16-10 on offensive end. They outscored the Suns on the second chance points, 26-13 in the game. And, of course, Anthony Davis, 25 points off of 17 Suns miscues. Easy play, easy scoring. Anthony Davis, he was 12 of 12 from the free throw line. We talked about that. That's the importance of understanding when you get to the line, because he gets fouled a lot. If he can convert 80 or better % of his free throws, his numbers will go up. Definitely. Like I said, he can average 10 points a game just in free throw because he gets fouled so much. And also the Pelicans have now won their 7th straight contest against Phoenix. So it's been domination against the Phoenix Suns. Also, inside information on the Pelicans when going into some of the individual statistics before we move on from this game and get into the other game. The Pelicans' top scorer, of course, my player of the game was obviously AD. Come on. AD was, even though he played 36 minutes, he had 26 points in this matchup, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple of blocks. He does what he's supposed to do. Anthony Davis, even though he carried it, we ain't gonna say he carried the team, but he was the spark, the ignition for this team. Behind him, it was Julius Randle. Remember, Nikolai Mirotic didn't play. 22 points for Julius Randle in almost 40 minutes of action, so it means that foot must be getting better. 9 of 19 from the field from him. He finished with 22 points and 15 rebounds in the game. And of course, the Suns just couldn't match up with Julius Randle. He got the strong man gang. I love it. Wesley Johnson continues to get more comfortable in the system. He finished with 9 points in the game off of 28 minutes. Drew Holiday, 19 points, 9 assists and 16 rebounds, complete performance. He even had 3 steals. Of course, his turnovers be a little higher. If Drew could cut those turnovers, he had 6 turnovers in this game. That's kind of high for him. And also, Julius Randle had 5 turnovers in the game. So he counted for 11 turnovers between the two of them. They got that I know that's kind of extraordinary for those guys. But, of course, I know Alvin Gentry will be emphasizing, listen, we got to do better with that stat. Etwan Moore was fantastic in this game. He had 17 points. Not blow your doors off, but that's a nice complimentary amount of points to go along with what the established guys are doing. Then off the bench, you had Darius Miller. Really, you could tell, like I said in the previous show, you don't miss Darius Miller until he's not there. He had 9 points, and he was 3 of 5 from shooting from downtown. So 20 and 22 minutes. So Darius Miller's continuing to get his minutes. Sheik Diallo played 18 minutes, had 7 points and 10 rebounds. Love when he plays. And then the only other guys, Ian Clark played 15 minutes. They're really trying to get Ian going. He has 7 points and 4 rebounds in 15 minutes of play and 15 minutes of action. And then Frank Jackson and Jahlil Okafor got some cleanup crap. Frank Jackson had 3 points in 2 minutes, and of course Jahlil Okafor only played 2 minutes. So, and then of course Solly Hill DMP'd. That's that. We know what time that is. They're basically just giving up on him. Now, let's move into the next matchup. And this one's against the Toronto Raptors. And this is one of those matchups that you won't talk about. And this was a really big win. This was a big win for the Pelicans. Of course, they come into this matchup. And a lot of people didn't pick them to beat the Toronto Raptors. I most certainly said, you know what, this team could have something special here. They're coming off a 2-game winning streak. The Toronto Raptors are a very good club. They haven't lost at home. They were perfect at home. The Pelicans went in there and punched them in the mouth. They really did. The Pelicans averaged were 54.5% versus 40% for the Raptors. They were 10 of 27 for downtown for 37%. The Raptors hit 3 more 3-pointers than the Pelicans. Pelicans only went to the line 13 times in this game. Of course, Raptors went 22 times. That's a home cooking thing. Pelicans were 8 of 13 from the free throw line for 61.5% versus 86 and from the Raptors. Pelicans did win a rebound battle, 61-50. That was huge, getting 40 defensive rebounds in the games. They won the assist war, 30-22. The steal battle went to the Raptors. The block battle went to the Raptors. But the turnover battle, the Pelicans, even though they turned it over 13 times for 16 points to help Toronto. Toronto turned the ball over 5 times for 11 points. So it's really a differential of 2 points neutralized. The fast break battle was totally Toronto's with 28-7. But the Pelicans, this is the key underlying stat in this one. They dominated the points in the paint, 72-42. That was a major indicator for the Pelicans in this one. And that was the thing that stuck out. If you look at the statistics, that was the one that stuck out the most to me. And it was that points in the paint battle. Now before we get into the rest of the analysis and give you some more of the individual statistics, let's hear what Coach Gentry had to say about his team performance over the Raptors.
We did a good job. We started the game the right way. I thought we started with ball movement, and I thought we managed our turnovers all the way up until we decided to throw a couple of them to them. They're a really aggressive team, and we talked about how they play the passing lanes. But I thought we did a great job of getting into certain plays, of trying to take advantage of the things that we had some success with, and we shot the ball well. I think when we shoot it well, it opens up everything else. I thought Drew had a great floor game, and I thought he was fantastic defensively. I think anytime you can, if Kawhi goes 7 for 20, you've done an outstanding job on him, because not only is he a great defender, but he's also a great scorer and a great shooter. And I thought Drew did a really good job on him, and I thought Wesley Johnson did a good job on him. it's hard with those guys. They do such a great job of spreading the floor and driving and finding open guys that I thought when it came down to guarding the ball, we did a real good job with that.
Coach, how did you guys neutralize the Toronto backcourt tonight?
I just think that our bigs did a great job of stepping out on dribble handoffs and screens. AD, Julius, Chet, all those guys, I thought did a fantastic job of not letting them come off and shoot the ball off screens. And then when it came down to just guarding, sitting down and guarding, I thought we did a good job on Cal, especially not reaching in. You got AD one time, but for the most part, we didn't reach in and give him those cheap fouls where he's on the line.
They've had their way of points in the paint so far this season, more often than not. How were you able to flip the script tonight?
I thought we did a good job with our dribble penetration, the pin downs and then hitting our perimeter guys on the move. Put a lot of pressure on their big guys, and we were able to make some floaters over the top. And then we just got out and ran. I thought Drew did a good job of breaking down the defense and getting in the paint. And, they were obviously trying to take away AD's lob, so that made that little floating shot right there available. And I thought Etwan and Drew and Ian and those guys did a real good job of making a good decision to shoot that shot rather than try to force it to AD.
30 points for each one. That one shot account for that, or what was clicking so well for him tonight?
A lot of that came off the pin down. It came off pin downs, and it's a tough situation. I thought AD and Julius and those guys set really good screens, and because it's a clear side of the floor, it created, 2-on-1 situations really, and I thought we took advantage of that.
What type of growth are you seeing out of Chet? He's getting more and more minutes, it seems like, lately.
I just think he's an energy guy for us. He comes in the game and, he's so hard on himself. He threw the one away and, it was just kind of a soft pass. But I thought he played a really outstanding game for the most part. He's the one that triggers our offense when he's in there. He runs, which create depth in our transition offense.
That's Coach Al Gentry chiming in on his team's performance over the Toronto Raptors. We're about to go into our break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to finish up on this Toronto Raptors and Pelicans game here, where the Pelicans really showed the NBA, man. Let me tell you something. I know how it is on every night. Anybody can be beat. That's the nature of the beast. But the Pelicans showing you peaks and valleys, highs and lows. When they go down, they really go down. When they go up, they can beat anybody in the league at any given time. So we're going to talk more about this Toronto game and what does it mean to the Pelicans. We also got Pelican news, things that happen. We're going to break it down. And we also have the preview in the upcoming matchup with the Timberwolves. So all that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. You listen to the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network.
Get ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're listening to the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. Once again, we recapping the Pelicans-Toronto Raptors matchup. Pelicans were able to knock them off by 16 points in their building, up there in Toronto in the Scotiabank Arena. Pelicans went up there, knocked them off. Big win for the Pelicans against this team. Little information to share with you before we finish up with the recap and then move on to the rest of the stories that we need to cover in podcast 270. With that snap of six, now with that win, let me show you how big this win was for the Pelicans over the Raptors. This team it's my pick to go to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. Now, I know it's early, but small things you build. This is how you build a house. You don't take, this is how you build a foundation, a frame for something that's strong. By small piece, putting small piece, incrementally having these things, building them. That's how you build a foundation. And the Pelicans having these, people might consider this a small win by any stretch of the imagination. I don't care what you say. This is it's the way they did. They beat this a quality opponent by 16 points. Now, of course, I'm going to give you the individual statistics on this game about Kyle Lowry, how he stunk, and they should have traded him as opposed to him, but I can't be mad at the San Antonio trade. Kawhi Leonard is an excellent player, a top 10 in the NBA. Some say a top 5 player in the NBA. Anyway, this is how important the win was against the Toronto Raptors, who just drought for a while has been just dominating the Pelicans when they go, especially when we go to Toronto. It's been a while. With the win, it snaps a 6-game losing streak to Toronto. The last win prior to that was way back in 2015 on my birthday, 2/23. The win also marks Anthony Davis' first against the Toronto Raptors, as he was 0 for 7 against the Raptors. Did you hear what I said? I said the Raptors been dominating New Orleans for a while. It was the last Pelican opponent he was yet to defeat since entering the NBA. He never beat the Toronto Raptors before. It's almost like Drew Brees and Sean Payton not beating the Baltimore Ravens. AD got that monkey off his back. New Orleans was outscored by Toronto in the paint 72-42. Despite the 72-42 paint button kicking, New Orleans outscored Toronto in the paint 72-42. Dominated them in the paint, and that's supposed to be Toronto's game. Pelicans took it away. With the game tied at 70 with 10 minutes left in the third, New Orleans closed the frame with a 24-13 run to take an 11-point advantage into the fourth quarter. Toronto answered open the fourth quarter with a 7-2 run to cut the deficit to just 6, which was 96-90 with about 11 minutes left. Then the Pelicans answered with 8 unanswered points to push the lead back up to 14 with 8.5 minutes left. That was it for the Raptors. The Pelicans just went on to win the game. Now the loss marked just the second of the season for the Raptors and their first at home. The 16-point deficit is the worst regular season loss at home since March 16th of 2017 when they lost by 21 to the Thunder. Now Kyle Lowry, who entered the game averaging about 17 points, was held to just 4 points on 1 of 9 shooting from the field, thanks to the Pelicans defense, and you got to credit the fact that he just struggled in the game, but the Pelicans made him uncomfortable. And that was one of the major reasons why they lost this game. Let's go into the individual statistics in this one where we'll clean up and get off of this game. Anthony Davis, 25 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He was 11 and 20 from the field, 1 of 2 from downtown. And he only went to the free throw line 2 times in this one. He hit both shots. That's egregious to me. He should have had more points, but we understand how this foolishness go. They only had, as a team, got to the line 13 times, but converted 8 of 13 from the field. He wasn't, and Anthony Davis, even though I mentioned him, he wasn't the best player in terms of scoring. It was E'Twaun Moore. E'Twaun Moore lit this team up. He had 30 points in the game on 13 of 18 shooting from the field. He was 3 of 5 from downtown. In 36 minutes, he had 30 points. Drew Holiday had 29 points and 14 assists in this game. It was absolutely awesome. Drew Holiday, not only did he have this offensive game, but his defensive game was there too, bugging the hell out of Kyle Lowry. It was just awesome. Drew Holiday, 29 points in 39 minutes, 12 of 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown. He finished with 14 assists and 3 rebounds. He even had a steal to cap it. Julius Randle, came in the game. Of course, Nikola Mirotic didn't play dealing with injury. 17 points for Julius Randle in 35 minutes. He had 12 rebounds and 4 assists, 7 of 12 from the field for Julius Randle. Then off the bench, the Pelicans. Sheik Diallo had 8 points and 6 rebounds in 19 minutes. Darius Miller played 22 minutes. He struggled a bit but had 6 points. So did Ian Clark, had 6 points in the game as well. Tim Frazier played. He didn't record a bucket, but the fact of the matter, then of course, Jahlil Okafor, Frank Jackson were all DNP'd in the game. Now, Nikola Mirotic didn't play those last 2 games. And it's a reason behind that, and we'll get to that in just a second. Kyle Lowry, you look at what the Raptors did. Kawhi Leonard finished with 20 points and about 6 rebounds, and it's on 7 of 20 shooting from the field in 34 minutes. The defense was awesome. Pascal Siakam had 22 points in a game, 19 for Serge Ibaka. But after that, you had 17 from OG Anunoby off the bench and 10 apiece by Fran VanVleet and Wright. But the other star that struggled was Kyle Lowry. I can't help but notice he had 4 points, 11 assists in the game. He was terrible, 1 of 9 shooting in 33 minutes. He was 0 for 6 from downtown. He couldn't hit the ball side of the barn, and that helped with the Pelicans because he had added his 17 points in here. It would probably wouldn't have made much of a difference if he had a 17. He had 4, so if he had 13 more points into the game, the Pelicans would have still beat him 126-23. But at the end of the day, Kyle Lowry needs to be on his game if the Raptors are going to do something. He obviously wasn't, because of the fact that the Pelicans defense made it really uncomfortable for him, and the fact that he was just off too. He couldn't get into a rhythm. So the Pelicans did an excellent job going up to Toronto and finally getting that win. And like I said, that's an interesting stat. Anthony Davis beat every team in the NBA except for the Raptors, and he was able to get that monkey off. So big ups to AD and the team as they climb to 7-6 once again. They are over 500. They are winning organization once again. Now let's move past the recaps and let's go into some information pertaining to Nikola Mirotic was held out of the game. A lot of people thought it was because of injuries, but according to a report that was published by multiple sources, and in particular we're going to get a source to the New Orleans Advocate, they said that there was a report that indicated that the Pelicans had offered Nikola Mirotic and a first-round pick to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Jimmy Butler. They were involved in talks. Now, this was broken by The Atlantic. According to the source that's from the New Orleans Advocate, says that the Pelicans were willing to trade Nikola Mirotic and a first-round draft pick for Jimmy Butler, but the Timberwolves were interested in Pelicans point guard Drew Holiday, but New Orleans said we ain't parting with it. And of course, Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj from ESPN, said the Pelicans wouldn't include Drew Holiday in the offer, nor multiple draft picks, league sources said. Now, the Pelicans have reported interest in adding, another big-time name next to Anthony Davis to kind of move that parameter. But the Pelicans were trying to see if they can move. Trying to get Jimmy Butler. Now, they wanted Drew Holiday and they wanted picks. Ultimately, I think they made the best move because Jimmy Butler he'll definitely leave in free agents. You got Drew Holiday locked up for multiple years. Anthony Davis is going to sign his max deal coming up next year. Then you can keep him, and then they'll have enough money to add another piece. Now, maybe they can get a deal done with Nikola Mirotic where they then add him to the fray. But it's interesting to see that the Pelicans were willing to get rid of Nikolai Mirotic, very interesting there for the Pelicans to choose to do that, man. Interesting. But anyway, other news too to talk about is the fact that another report circulating saying that the Pelicans are not interested in adding Carmelo Anthony to the team. And some sources says because of his defense. The man don't play defense, and that'll be a detriment to the team. Of course, he can score. But if you're gonna help a team, you got to play some defense. And Carmelo is not really a true small forward anymore. He's more of a 4 than he is a 3. So, and that's good news for the Pelicans. They don't need that. Whatever they got going on in Houston and all this madness, keep that away from us. We done had our share. But anyway, let's get into the preview for the Pelicans as they get ready for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's going to be a quick preview. Now, it's coming up on the 14th. It'll be broadcast on ESPN. Of course, Minnesota Timberwolves did send Jimmy Butler. They did end up trading Jimmy Butler to the Philadelphia 76ers, so they move him out of the West to the East. That's good news for the Pelicans because Pelicans have had difficulty enough with some of these guys, dealing with guys like Andrew Wiggins and Big Cat and all those guys. But with the Pelicans, we'll have to deal with, of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves did get Robert Covington and Dario Saric in the deal from the Sixers. Covington is a very underrated small forward, so it's going to be interesting how they use him now. Prior to that, they did lose like a bunch of games. They're coming like a 4-game losing streak. And ultimately, they finally get a win against Brooklyn, 120-13. The Pelicans winning 3 straight after losing a row. And they're on the 3 games. It's just that fast. They're on a 3-game losing streak after coming off a 6-game losing streak after coming off a 4-game win. It's crazy. But that's NBA, isn't it? But the injuries, Nikolai Mirotic is still listed as day-to-day, although they expected him to play real soon. Alfred Payton's been out for some time since that Utah game. They keep saying he's out, but I heard reports that he was supposed to come back against the Raptors. He didn't. We don't know. I don't know what's going on with that ankle. But saying that he's supposed to be coming back real soon, I don't know against this one. Minnesota have a buttload of injuries too. Andrew Wiggins and Robert Covington, Dario Saric, some of these guys they just traded for their day-to-day. Jeff Teague is definitely out, and Gerald Bayless, who's a guy they traded for in the Sixers deal, they say that he's out. Looking at some of the statistics in the game, Pelicans averaging 118 points a game while giving up 116 a game. Minnesota averages 111, give up 117. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 5-9, but they're 5-1 at home. They're not so much of a good road team, but they're pretty good at home. The Pelicans, although, are 2-5 away, and that's because of that terrible 6-game that on the road that helped skewer that record. Now they'll be playing in the Target Center with almost about 19,300 people, and I doubt it'll be filled up for this game, being that it's perhaps it might be on the 14th. We might see some top scorers for this team, of course, looking at is Anthony Davis averaging almost 25 points a game, 13 rebounds. Drew almost 10 assists a game. He got actually 9.2. Drew Holiday doing an excellent job from the off guard position. Other scores for the Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns is the top man as far as points, averaging about 20 a game, rebounds 11.6, and Derrick Rose, who put up 50 not too long, averaging about 5 assists a game in this one. So the Pelicans facing off against a scrappy Minnesota team that's pretty good at home, not so much on the road. Who gets the win here? Can the Pelicans keep that spiel going in this one? That's the interesting question, is can the Pelicans keep up and get the win against Minnesota? I would say no if Jimmy Butler was there, because he is a player that they struggled to deal with. You got Etuan Moore matching up on him. You might throw Drew Holiday at him. But the Pelicans now constructed with him with that two-way guard that he used to just kill him, man. I mean, Jimmy Butler just used to just wipe the Pelicans out. He's not there anymore. The Pelicans got the Timberwolves got these other parts. They got Akulame, Big Cat, and then you got Teague is out. Rose he did his 1.50. He did his 50-point game, but I don't think he can sustain nothing like that. I have to give the win to the Pelicans. The Pelicans, I think, in the competitive game, they go up to the Minnesota Timberwolves and get another win. They go up to 8-6 against the Wolves. So thank you guys for joining us on the Pelican Post-Game Report tonight on our double recaps and our preview game. As always, if you enjoyed the show, please go to our Patreon page, make a contribution to help empower the platform. Remember, this is our platform. Together we talk about the Pelicans, and together we can bring more people to the fold, and we can kind of upgrade the show in many different ways. So feel free to go to the Patreon page at www.patreon.com/network and make a donation, become a monthly contributor to help empower the show. It got a little perks and stuff for you if you do that. Also, you can join the social media family. The link's in the description section below. And another way you can support the show is by going and buy something from our sponsors. That helps us out as well. So the rest of the crew at the Pelican Postgame Report, thank you for joining us today. And also be on the lookout for our live shows coming up real soon for the Pelican Postgame Report. We'll be beta testing it coming up real soon, so be looking out for that. Also, thank you guys, new and established listeners, for listening tonight. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Boxing, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace. Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child, child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.